back, Sheenas Kitchen. Today we're going to be making chapatis, and not just any chapatis. I'm going to be making some cinnamon and carrot chapatis. So for my chapatis, I like to give them like a little flavor to them, a little spice to them. So to get started, I'm going to get my carrots, and what I like to do is soak them in water, some hot water, so they can get soft. That way when you mix them into the dough, they're going to mix in nicely and they're not going to have like a raw taste to them. So for the carrots, you want to make sure when you get the grater, you use the fine side and not the very big side. So kind of like the medium small size, and this is the size you're going to get. If you use the bigger side, you're going to get very big grated carrots, which are going to be hard to dissolve in the chapatis. So after about 5 to 10 minutes, you'll notice that now your carrots have gotten a little bit softer because I used hot water, and you can see the water has now come up. And that water, I don't usually throw it away. I'm going to use it in the chapati. Then I'll add some extra water if need be when now mixing in the flour. So my carrots are resting. So I'm going to go ahead and get my flour and add it to my bowl. And then get your fork, and I usually like to aerate my flour. This just makes it nice and airy, and it removes any lumps inside the flour. If you don't have a fork, this is a simpler way to do it, but an easier way is that you can use a sieve. But I always feel like everyone has a fork at home, so you could definitely just use a fork. And there's always a way your flour looks once you've done aerating it. It looks nice and light and not so dense as compared to flour that has not been sifted. So once your flour is nice and aerated, go ahead and add some cinnamon, and then mix in the cinnamon into the flour. And once that's done, create a well in the center. For me, I always like creating a well in the center because I find it makes it really easy to mix everything else. And then add your sugar, some salt, a bit of oil, and then the carrots that were being soaked earlier, and we're adding them with the liquid here. And then go ahead and start mixing everything together. As you're doing this, I like using my fork for this stage before I use my hands. And then I'm going to add just a bit of water if I see I need more, because remember I added water in my carrots. So I'm going to add a bit more of water, just until the dough comes together before I use my hands. So once your dough comes together, you can go ahead now and use your hands to mix it. So we're going to mix this until the dough comes completely together. So once your dough has now come together at this stage, you can now put it on the table and start actually kneading it. So get some flour, dust your table, and place your dough to start kneading it. So this is going to take some time, about 10 minutes or so. So just keep going until the dough is nice and elastic and the gluten has been activated. So for my dough, usually I like to use my palms, and the easiest way is to just stretch the dough out using your palms, the base of your hand, and just roll out the dough. Or you could also roll it out this way. Again, I'm using my palms to knead it down and then pull it back, and knead it down, pull it back. That's just the simplest way to knead it because it requires a lot of energy. This is the part where you're actually working out your arms. It's like a workout, a serious workout. So at this stage, our dough is getting soft, but it's still not yet where I want it to be. I want it to be more elastic than this, so I'm still going to continue kneading it before I put it to rest. Whew, this is such a workout. So our dough is now nice and soft and pliable. You can have a look and see it's nice and stretchy. So I'm going to give it some more time now to rest so that the gluten can do even more work and make your dough even more stretchy than it actually is. And at this stage, I like to fold it in to make a ball. So So I'm just tucking in the bottom to create a ball. So go ahead and get a bowl, and then in the bowl I like to add a bit of oil just so your dough doesn't stick, and just oil it. And I'm using the same bowl we used for our mixture. So grease the bottom, and then using the same oil, just dab your dough with a bit of the oil. Again, it will ensure that it just doesn't stick. And then now cover it with some cling film. For the cling film, you want to make sure you cover directly onto the dough and not on top of the bowl, because if you do this, it's going to create a crust on your dough. So make sure you cover directly onto the dough. And once you've covered your dough, make sure that it's all the way tightly covered so that there are no air bubbles that will create any air to form a crust. I also like to add a wet, damp, warm cloth onto the bowl. This ensures that the gluten will activate faster, because now it's in a warm place because of the tea towel that's warm. And from there, I'm going to give it about 10 minutes to rest before now I start rolling it out. So our dough has now had time to rest. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the cling film. And if you have a look, you'll notice that the dough is really nice and soft. Just have a look at it, and it's really stretchy. Look at that, it's so nice and stretchy. So dust the table and get your rolling pin. So at this stage, I want to create layers for my chapati. So what I'm going to do is roll out the ball of dough that I've just pinched, and then layer it with some oil. So once you've rolled out your dough, go ahead and get some oil, just some normal vegetable oil. I'm using sunflower oil, and just spread that out onto your chapati. This is going to ensure that your chapati does not stick when you're folding it, so that way there will be layers once you've cooked it. Then now go ahead and fold your chapati. There are usually a couple of ways to fold your chapati, but I like using this method. However, you could use the fan method, whereby you roll it and then pinch it out to the outside, but I just like using the rolling inwards method. I find it easier. So as you're pinching it inside, you're pulling it out as well. So you're kind of rolling it in and pulling it out, rolling it in, pulling it out. Once you get to the end, stretch out the dough gently, and then now start making a ball. So just make a ball, basically a pinwheel. And for the end, just tuck it into the bottom. So for the fan method, what you want to do is fold it in. And if you're in school and you used to make a fan out of like papers and fan yourself, this is how you'll do it. Fold it in and then fold on top of it, and then in again, and then pull it in as you fold on top again, and just keep repeating that until you get to the end. So for the fan method, you want to press it down and then fold it in. So once you've done that, then go ahead now and make your pinwheels, and you can see the layers. So you can choose whichever method works for you. So once you're done layering your chapatis with the oil and creating the layers, go ahead and cover them with some cling film. I'm using the same cling film as before, and just let them rest a bit more until they get soft. So for like another 5 to 10 minutes before now you start rolling them to make your chapatis. So my chapati dough has now had some time to sit and rest. So I'm going to go ahead and get one and start rolling it now to make my chapatis. Oh, you saw that? You can see how nice and soft they are. Just look at them. Ooh, can't wait. So we're going to start rolling them. So get some flour and dust your table, and then push down on the chapati dough. So just push it down and then turn it and push it down. So you can see where the layers are, so you're just pushing that down so that you can now start rolling it. I usually like to add some flour to my rolling pin just to make it easy to roll my chapati. So when you're rolling a chapati, you want to go round in turns. So once you roll one side, turn it to the other side and then roll it. Then turn it again and roll it. And make sure you're also rolling the edges. Turn it and roll it. So I'm trying to place the weight on both the edges as well as the center. And you'll notice my chapati starts to lift sometimes. That's because the dough is really soft, and that is why it's shrinking as I roll it out. So basically just roll it out until you have a good size. So I'm now going to go ahead and start cooking it on the pan. Make sure the pan is hot before adding your chapati dough, and then place your chapati and spread it out. Okay. So once the chapati has now like a turned color, you can kind of start seeing the carrots. Then now you turn it so that it can brown on the other side. And at this stage I've not added any oil. If you're not used to turning with your hands, definitely use a tool. You can use a spatula, but I'm used to it, so I use my hands. So at this stage, after you've turned your chapati, you can go ahead and add the oil right now, or you can make all the other chapatis and then cook them all at once. So at this stage, you've just pre-blanched your chapatis, so I like to cook them all at once. So I'm going to take this chapati off before adding the oil so that I can cook the other chapatis, and then add another chapati. To cook your chapatis all at once you've like pre-blanched the chapati, go ahead and add the other one that was ready, and then add oil to the top part of the chapati and just spread it out. Make sure every part is coated with oil, but do not put too much oil. And then turn your chapati. So add oil to the bottom part. So you're just going to go interchanging this. However, if you're not comfortable with this technique, you could just make your chapatis one by one. I always just feel like this is a lot faster. I don't know whether it's just me. So turn your chapati. Oh, so our chapati is looking wonderful and golden brown. So then now turn it inside, because we've not browned the inside part. And then add some oil. And then turn this chapati now to the inside and finish off. This is the last side we're going to be finishing off. The bottom is also done, as you can see, so we're going to take it out of the pan. And voila! So once your chapatis are cooked, cover them with some cling film. That way they'll continue to get soft. In Kenya we used to use plastic bags, but they were banned, so now we have to use cling film. So if you make your chapatis just right, they should be nice, soft and pliable. See, when you fold, like they shouldn't cut or break, so you should be able to fold them and fold them that way without them breaking. They should be foldable like a gazeti. Seriously, they should not break. Come a gazeti. Okay. So if you have a look, you can see the layers of the chapatis as well. And that's the good thing with layering your chapatis, and they should be able to peel off very easily. And you can follow it through if you have a look. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and taste our chapos. The cinnamon and carrot, they're a match made in heaven, honestly. I always love mixing them in together. I really hope you guys enjoyed my cinnamon and carrot chapatis. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. I'll appreciate that. And subscribe to my channel for more African and Kenyan inspired recipes. So comment down below what you'd like to see, and I'll make some of those things that you guys comment down below. So until next time, subscribe to my channel and bye!